Thank you guys, I appreciate it. It was really nice meeting you guys.
You're gonna hear about my parties, they're gonna be shutting them down, they're gonna probably be arresting me. I will be here waiting for you. I have a special party announcement. Okay? Doing all types of crazy things just because we want to have a good time, you know.
So did you know that Puff Daddy and Michael Jackson have a bit of a history? And not that whole thing that got disproven earlier this year that I'm not supposed to talk about. This is a tale that's almost conspiracy levels of crazy. So during a 2009 appearance on The Late Show with David Letterman, Puffy recalled how the King of Pop showed up uninvited to one of his parties. So for decades, Puffy parties were like the place to be for like at least the elites. From his annual Hamptons White Party to the blowout birthday bashes, the lavish champagne and caviar-filled soirees, these were attended by the who's who of the elites. We're talking Jay-Z and Beyonce, Jennifer Lopez, Leonardo DiCaprio, Ashton Kutcher. I could go on and on. For his 50th birthday party, Puffy partied with members of the Kardashian family, Pharrell, Kate Beckinsale, Naomi Campbell, like, you know all these names. So during this 2009 interview, David Letterman presented Puffy with a photo of him and Michael Jackson. It was asking the rapper to share the backstory behind the photo. He said, oh, that was maybe taken 6 years ago. Michael Jackson came to one of my parties, so I'm in the party, I'm hosting them, you know, I'm being the hostess with the mostest and everything. And then security comes up to me and says, hey Puffy, Mr. Michael Jackson is here to see you. And I'm like, get out of here. So according to Puffy, after they took the picture together, Michael asked about Beyonce. So Puffy said, I find Mike and I'm like, Mike, what's up? What are you doing here? Thanks for coming. We start chit-chatting, he whispers in my ear. He says, where's Beyonce? And he's like, really? Really? Now Puffy clarified that this was before Jay-Z, and he claimed that Michael and Beyonce danced together. He said he came to the party to holler at Beyonce, finds her and dances with Beyonce in the party. Mike was smooth. So, going back to that mention of security a moment ago, that's about to be quite relevant. So, do you know the name of Puffy's current security head? The one known as Mr. Fix-It? The one who can make any problem with law enforcement disappear? Well, he once served as Michael Jackson's security chief. And by that, I mean he was the last head of security Michael Jackson ever had. Not only that, oh, his name is Fahim Muhammad, by the way. He was among the first to witness the King of Pop's body following his unexpected passing in 2009. So how did he get the job? You gotta wonder, like, is this somebody with like years and years of experience? Was he like the best security? Who did he work for before this? Well, only 3 months after earning a Bachelor of Science in Business Administration from Sacramento State College, Muhammad got a job working for the late King of Pop. Yep, you heard me right. This man's first job out of school was Michael Jackson's bodyguard and driver. But within less than 10 months, Muhammad was running the security operation for the biggest star on the planet at the time at just 21 years old. Part of me seems a little suspicious. So during Dr. Conrad Murray's trial for Michael's suspicious passing, Muhammad described his work duties. He said, and I quote, I was the chief of his security, so my responsibilities ranged from making sure his house was protected, his family was protected, and making sure his day-to-day activities were safe and planned and mapped out. I'm sorry, how does a 21-year-old have that kind of knowledge and planning and know-how and connections? He also detailed to the court the minutes after Michael Jackson was discovered on June 25th, 2009. He said in his testimony that upon closely observing Michael Jackson, he noticed that his eyes were open, his mouth was slightly open, and when he was asked if it seemed like Michael was gone from this world, Muhammad responded yes. Now, Conrad Murray was given a 4-year prison sentence after being found guilty, was released after spending 2 years, in case you were wondering. That's a whole thing, I could talk about that for hours. But going back to Muhammad, I would like to know how he got this job. So after Michael Jackson's demise, Muhammad worked for Puff Daddy in a similar capacity, where he exercised the same kind of authority. At least according to a complaint that rapper Lil Rod filed earlier this year, charging Puffy of a multitude of crimes that you're gonna have to ask the comment section about or anywhere else on the internet. I can't list them off in any way, short of making myself sound like a cartoon character, and neither you nor I want that. So Lil Rod, whose real name is Rodney Jones, stated in court documents that Puffy made it apparent that his head of security, Muhammad, had the ability to make people and problems disappear. Seriously, it's in writing. These documents further claimed that the rapper directed his employees to get in touch with Muhammad if they were ever stopped by the police in Miami or California. As per the lawsuit filed by Jones, Muhammad assisted in hiding Puffy's reported firing at of his son Justin's pal, identified as G in court records, back in September of 2022. And Lil Rod claims that no one other than Puffy or his son could have fired at G, and that they orchestrated a cover-up by having Muhammad and other people tell lies to the police about what transpired. Because apparently he's got all these, ties to the police. Lil Rod claims that Muhammad has close connections with the LAPD. So after Puffy's Beverly Hills mansion was raided in March, the security head was photographed arriving at the property surrounded by police. Which, once again, So while Puffy has faced numerous accusations throughout the years, by the way, Lil Rod was among the first to take serious legal action, which is, contributing to the current circumstances of everything. Now, if you're wondering what the connection is there, Lil Rod was a producer on Puffy's The Love album Off the Grid. And according to Lil Rod, he endured many things that went far beyond his role as a producer. He alleged that Puff repeatedly grabbed him, made him participate in unwanted activities, and that included having to work in the bathroom as Puff showered. What's more, Lil Rod claimed that he woke up nude in bed with Puff and two professionals one time after being slipped something. And his lawsuit also implicates Puff's son Justin, here we go again, and Chief of Staff Christina Karam, the latter of whom was accused of really bad things. So who else has some issues with Puff that needs to talk about him? 50 Cent. So we're going back to 2006 for a moment, folks. His diss track alleged that Puff was connected to the passing of Biggie Smalls, which is once again going back to the whole Fixers situation. So in October of 2023, 50 Cent elaborated on talking about Puffy. He said that he went to Puffy parties and they were uncomfortable. He said that Puff would hug you from the front and back at the same time, and 50 Cent has been even more vocal about Puff in obviously the last couple of months. He also sold a docuseries to Netflix entitled Did He Do It? And he claimed that Puff is the reason that Tupac is no longer with us. Once again, bear with me here, there's a lot to go through. Turns out, the man who has sadly passed away was very skeptical of Puffy. When speaking with Vibe magazine back in 1995, he was asked if he thought Puff was connected to the previous year, the incident when Tupac almost lost his life, and he didn't hold back. He said, "I believe so." But he said that's between me and him, and only he knows. Well, a year later, another awful event, and this one marked the end of somebody's life. Now, somebody else was arrested for this passing in 2023, but they said that Puffy offered $1 million for the deed. So, what's a fixer, folks? So let's get into the whole fixer situation, because obviously one of them needs to be involved for all of this to be covered up. Fixers are not something new in the land of the elites. If we go way back in Hollywood history, like the 1930s, they have ties to organized crime. That's how they're able to get all this stuff covered up. So let's talk about MGM Studios, the big one. Way back in the day, a man named Howard Strickling handled potentially scandalous affairs for the studio stars. We're talking from the 30s till the 60s. He worked with MGM general manager Eddie Mannix to maintain the carefully curated images for every single movie star. We're talking any damaging story didn't hit the press. If it was too late, make that story go away. Now, Mannix and Strickling were an unlikely team. Mannix was a thug who hung out with folks in the organized crime scene, and he first caught the eye of film executive brothers Nick and Joseph Schneck while working construction at their amusement park. Strickling was a dapper former journalist who transitioned over to MGM Publicity in 1919, but together, they made stuff go away. Like Howard Strickling's phone was always ringing. It might be Jean Harlow panicking because she is now with a new life. Then it might be a security guard informing the fixer that he'd removed a belligerent Spencer Tracy from yet another establishment. Once it was Marlena Dietrich, distraught after discovering a body. When any MGM actress found themselves pregnant out of wedlock, don't worry, these guys were able to make appointments to get that dealt with, if you know what I mean. They would cover visits up with false names, false ailments. Like once upon a time, somebody had a really bad ear infection. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. So, Hollywood fixers, they make things go away. They're still happening. And I hope I don't go away next. That's all, folks. See you next time.